Hello, trading has closed on April 9th, 2025. As always, we'll do our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls and then make our predictions. It's my trading plan for Thursday, which is April 10th, 2025. Remember, I can change my plan. My plan can be completely wrong. Any trade you make should be made at your own risk. I'm trying to get back in tune with the market after being away from it for a couple of weeks with internet, which didn't always work, and that might affect the accuracy of my calls. If you're going to risk money, keep in mind I'm not always right. Look for the pattern today with the early low. Tends to be a rally day. High in the final hour. That turned out to be an understatement. I did not like yesterday's action. I said it wasn't completely negative because the big drop couldn't manage a close. Here's the close under any of these lows here. But futures are already down about 100 handles when I was recording it. And I said if we held on to this week's lows, we could have a big rally. But if it failed, we could have a big drop. And I was aware that it was in the process of failing overnight, but it never did. Here's what we said. To make a case for a successful retest, more rally to come. Futures were down sharply, but they recovered just in the nick of time. During the day, MEJT said none of these drops would stick. They all recovered, gave us a buy signal and an ultimate buy signal in the afternoon. The minimum target printed immediately. No reason to stop at the minimum. There's an optional target. Doesn't have to print at 50, 29, 24. I'm going to ignore it. I don't think we're going to drop 400 points after going up more than that. Well, this was the DeMark count. I said we could count yesterday's action as bar 13 of a DeMark combo buy signal, and it doesn't have to mark a low, but it certainly did. This orange line is the TDST line of the pattern which started a long time ago. You have a 9, 13, 9, and we consolidated and then had this big drop. Support extends to one full bar under the line, and if you go lower than that, support breaks. So this is one full bar under the line. We never printed one full bar under that. We're now back over the line, so at least for now, support's held on the daily chart. This was another DeMark sell signal that started long ago, and here's its TDST line. Support extends to one full bar under the line, and we never even got that. Support's held. This is your 89-week moving average. I did not like the fact that we traded under it, but now we're back over it again, and that marks the difference between markets going up and markets going down. For right now, if we continue higher, this is a rejection of that break. We still had this volume spike right at the low. That seems to be working. We gave 3 different wave counts yesterday, all of which would have been killed if we had taken out this week's low, but they weren't killed. And so far, those are all valid counts. I mean, maybe this is just a Fibonacci retrace of this first leg up. There's a 61.8. It's not perfect. It's pretty close. Maybe one of these alternate counts is the right count. None of this tells us what happens during tomorrow's trade, and there's a CPI report coming out. I don't like to predict what happens with those reports. I don't think we'll see the optional target. We need confirmation. I'd be shocked if we didn't get confirmation after a move like this, but I've been shocked before, and it looks like we've held support. If you ask me, all we need is confirmation by getting follow through tomorrow. Thursday's pattern has a early high regardless of where we open. That should be early low. I should learn how to read. Tomorrow has the early low. Regardless of where we open, the CPI report comes out before the open. I just can't predict the response to major economic reports with a sufficient degree of accuracy, and I'm usually flat going into them. Today's rally needs confirmation by trading past the close by 1 cent, and assuming that happens, I think one can interpret this week's action as a successful test of support. For weeks you've had bearish sentiment from the American Association of Individual Investors, seen only at market bottoms. We had extreme high readings on VIX, seen only at market bottoms. Over the weekend we had a newspaper headline about the market collapsing. These typically mark significant lows. They don't always call it to the day, with the exception of the newspaper, which is within 24 hours usually, but they're all signs of a bottom. The rally started from so far under the 200 daily moving average. Some backing and filling is to be anticipated. But if my hypothesis that the market should trade higher this year is correct, any retest of this week's low, if it occurs at all, should be limited. Testing a support level and holding is fine in the bull market, but if you retest support repeatedly, on the other hand, it increases the odds that sometimes support's going to fail. So I would like this to hold. Now it's entirely possible my plan's wrong, because we're seeing very wide swings, and these are typical of market tops, not bottoms. But it's not enough to get me to ignore it with the reversal we had today. The wide swings aren't really part of a bottoming pattern. Again, they're more of a topping pattern, and I think we'll consolidate somewhat. I don't believe in V-bottoms very much, but we have what we need for a good low here, and we have higher targets. And assuming we get confirmation, regardless of what happens tomorrow, I think we're going to be trending up. Doesn't tell me what happens tomorrow, but I think this was a pretty good reversal, and I'm going to believe it. It's a pattern with the early high. Correction. Early low. It's twice I made that mistake. Pattern with the early low, and that's today's call.